Hey, good morning, friends. How are you this morning? Hope you're well. Here we are. Here we are. So good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. We are live once again on this Thursday. Hope you're doing all right. We are finding our way. Hello, hello. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome. Hello, hello, everybody. It is Thursday all day long. So much Thursday. Hey, Priscilla, good morning. Feeling great. That is good to hear. That is so nice. Good morning, everybody. Folks finding their way. So nice to have you here. How are you? So good. What's everybody doing? I see people coming in, but nobody's saying hi. Was it something I said? What happened? Really? Good morning, Donna. Great to see you. I hope you are enjoying this fall morning. That there's goodness in it, and it is great. Hope everyone is well. And, good to see everybody. Good morning, Irene. Glad you're here. I'm ever grateful for your being on the journey. Thank you. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Sharon Landry. Nice seeing the ghosts of Paul Revere in Portland Sunday afternoon. I'm so jelly. Like, that is awesome. So good for you. Like, that is a beautiful sign of life. That is so great. Uh, they are just so terrific. That's great. They are truly. Uh, that's that just makes my heart go, that makes my heart swell like the Grinch. Like that's oh just to know that that's even if I can't be there, just to know it's happening. That's terrific. Thank you. Hey, Vicky. Good, 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 good. I'm glad Macy. Oh, I'm glad Macy's getting doctored on the 20th of May. There you go. Yeah, that's great. Like, no, I'm glad she's getting cared for. Yeah, those are, oh gosh, trying to keep the puppy's ears straight, like it's such a challenge. Like, it was great. So, yeah, we had an incredible fellowship last night. We had Leo Martin from the Jenny Museum come over and talk about the pilgrims, as you kind of rarely get to hear the pilgrims talked about in terms of from their faith journey and their faith perspective, and what that drove into this world and what that brought into this world. And then we get to break bread with each other. It was life giving. I tell you what, it was a good, good, good day. So I am ever thankful for everybody who made it happen. Bonnie, if you're on here, she's our RE director, and she just put so much work into this. And I hope you feel good about it, Bonnie, because we sure do. You've given us all. You give us all a great gift, and all of the RE members that were part of that. Shelby, Jackie, and Sue, and everybody that it was just terrific. It's just terrific, and it was like a cool drink of water after walking through the desert. Deb Votrin's here, everybody. Hey, guess what? It's Deb Votrin's birthday. Ha ha ha! I hoped she was going to show up today. Deb Votrin is 39 today, and it is so great that she is our missions chair here at the church, and she has been one of the very, very great lights to begin to has shown in this community in Fall River in caring. She has carried the torch to our work with United Way. She's carried our torch to food distribution to the vulnerable. She's done so much great stuff, and I am so honored and thankful to be sharing the road with her. And be a fellow pilgrim on the way, and that she gets another trip around the sun with us and with all of us. I am ever grateful. So happy birthday, Deb. So yes, and then so we didn't get a chance to record Leo, but he does have some DVDs and stuff, and I'll see what I can get you. How's that, Donna? I'll see what we can do. Good morning, everybody. Hey, Fanny Faye. I wish you'd been there last night. So great. Yes, it was a great time. You're welcome, Deb. You're welcome. Priscilla, it's Priscilla's birthday too. You are 86 today, Priscilla. Oh, hold on. I got it. We're gonna have to sing something, right? Now we have to sing, everybody. Like I didn't even know this was gonna happen, but oh boy, this is out of tune. But we'll do it anyway. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Deb and Priscilla and whoever else is out there. Happy birthday to you. All right, that was horribly out of tune, but a song nonetheless. Happy birthday to you both. October 15th is it's a big day in the spiritual world. So I am so great that you are all here. Thank you. Yes, thank you for everybody. It was a good night. Yes. All right, friends. It is, what are we doing again? Oh, yes. It's 11:11. It is the 15th day of October on Thursday. And it's a joy that we're continuing this journey. It's a joy that we can mark these times and these days with each other. That we can lift one another up, both in our journeying and our gathering, and in being here and right now, as you're hearing my voice. And I know some of you will check in with us later and all of that, but right now, if you're here or in the future as you're listening to this, I am grateful that you are on this journey with us. So, with that. So yesterday we talked a little bit about personality types and kind of invited you into doing some of that personality type work. I hope some of you took that up and took on that challenge. If you didn't, there's still plenty of time. But part of that is but one of the traps of that is that we can start to think about how the way that we are wired is somehow kind of the most important thing for us to understand about ourselves, is that we become the arbiters of our own salvation a little bit if we get too deeply into it. And so I'm not saying any of you are doing that. I'm not saying anything I'm doing that. But what I am saying is that there is the great gift of being fearfully and wonderfully made is that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And so what that brought me to in our thinking is this other conversation and this other side of things, which is in this 5th chapter of John. And it's one of my favorite stories of Jesus because it includes my favorite question from Jesus. And so it is, I know, and I say that, I probably say that all the time, right? This is my favorite story of Jesus. No, really, this is my favorite story of Jesus. Whatever. But it is because it has this question in it, and it says, do you want to be healed? Or in this translation, it says, do you want to be made well? And I think that's one of the most powerful questions that we can hold in front of ourselves all the time. So here's the story. After this, there was a festival of the Jews, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem. Now in Jerusalem, by the sheep's gate, there was a pool called in Hebrew Bethesda, and which has 5 porticos. In this lay many sick people, blind, lame, and paralyzed. One man was there who had been ill for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and knew that he had been there a long time, he said to him, "Do you want to be made well?" And the sick man answered him, Sir, I have no one to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up. And while I am making my way, someone else steps down ahead of me. And Jesus said to him, Stand up, take up your mat, and walk. And at once the man was made well, and he took up his mat and he began to walk. I love this story, and the reason I love this story is that he is encountering this man that has laid in his own unhealth, his own mat for 38 years. Now, this does not pass the sniff test about, like, I mean, first you want to imagine what it is for a person who's laid on their mat for 38 years, what that mat smells like. But but it doesn't pass the sniff test. Like, really, in 38 years, you haven't been able to find one stranger, one person. You haven't been able to make friends with another sick person there to be able to figure out how to get yourself into the pool as the angel came down so that you might be healed. You really couldn't figure it out in 38 years. What this is talking about is the way in which we end up being stuck in our own dysfunction. Now, don't hear this as like you're a bad person and you're screwing up your spiritual life and you need to pray harder and do better. That's not what I'm like. Don't hear what I'm not saying, because that's the temptation to go there. Like, it's really quick for us to slide over into that. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm talking about what I believe Jesus does in their stories, and he does lots of things. But one of the things that he does is he maps out the spiritual reality of part of our inner life. That these different stories tell us something about how our inner life and how our spiritual life plays itself out. And it's not like there's a good person doing it right and a bad person doing it wrong. It's more like, this is the stuff you're going to go through on the path. This is being illuminated along the way. And so that illumination that we're in, that this opening up of this story, is to look at this and say, he's been on the mat for 38 years. Friends, if he was going to get off the mat, it would have happened in the first 5 years under his own power. He's not. It's not going to happen. Not under his own power. He's right there. What this brings us to is one of, and if you spend time with me, you'll hear me say this phrase again and again, because I believe it's one of the most important phrases for us to embody, or us to make a part of our lives in the journey of in our spiritual journey, is to understand that this is not your process. This is God's process with you. Now, I want to say that again. This is not, what's going on in your life is not your process to manage, to control, to get right or get wrong, to get your stuff together and make sure you're doing all the right things and hitting all the right notes, to hit the, like, for those of you of a certain age, for you to be able to kind of hit all the Arthur Murray dance steps that are on the floor. Like, this is not your process. It is God's process with you. Now, in that, like we talked about yesterday, there's a way in which you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And because you have a fearfully and wonderful maker that knows how you are wired, that maker has a process for you that is unfolding. Now, that doesn't mean we have nothing to do, does it? That doesn't mean we have nothing to do. It means actually we have all manner of things to do. But what it means is that the removal of our healing, the removal of our brokenness, the removal of our pain, the opening of ourselves to joy isn't always ours to be the arbiter of. It is God's process with us. And what our big invitation is, we can simply just answer the question, do you want to be healed? Do you want to have your life look more healthy, more beautiful, more whole, more full, more wonderful than it does right now, than on your stinky little mat? Now, you don't have stinky little mat lives. That's not what I'm saying to any of you. I'm just making a joke here. So don't get too attached to it. But understand that it's God alone that's the actor in this. that it's us that's being acted upon. Like it's God, it's us that, and that in that we get a response. We begin our worship. If you ever come to worship, we begin our worship with a call and response, and we do that in a fairly formal way. But it is the symbol of the fact that this is how the entire creation works for us. Is that it works in this call and response manner. That it says that it's asking us simply, do you want to be healed? Do you want to be healed? And that we can open ourselves up to healing by saying yes. Now, yes is not, and we think automatically, of course, we want to be healed. Of course, we want things to be better. Of course, we want more joy, more love, more. Of course, we do. But what that requires of us is the setting down of the things that we have. Think about this. He spent 38 years on the mat. Like he probably has his little, maybe he has a little, like little bobblehead. That's his favorite little kitschy thing that he has on his mat. He knows how to survive on his mat. He's survived for 38 years on his mat. Yes, he's got his dysfunction. Yes, he's got his brokenness. Yes, he's got his crippledness. But he's managed to make it 38 years. He's got the person he begs to when they come by and they give him his arm. He's got a system that works. Is he willing to trade in that entire system that works to that illusion of health that he has for actual wholeness and healing, and what that's going to require of him, which will require of him picking up his mat, picking up the 38 years of stuff that he's laid in, picking up responsibility for all of the stuff that went before it. You see, Barbara Brown Taylor, she's a great preacher. She puts it this way. She says, disillusionment is the loss of illusion about ourselves, about the world, about God. And while it is almost always painful, it is not a bad thing to lose the lies that we have mistaken for the truth. His truth was that he was lying on it, that he was a crippled on a mat. That was his truth. And it's God that enters into his truth and gets him to the pool. And it's God's process in that worked with him to get him there. This is how God works with us. And we think it's otherwise. We think we do all of our preparation work and then the Lord comes down and elevates us into the great sanctum sanctorum. Like, no. God enters right into the center of our brokenness, the center of our dysfunction, the center of even our denial of our own health and our own goodness, and says, come here. You're healed. And ask us the simple question, do you want to be healed? That's the invitation of these days. Do you want, as we talked about yesterday with the personality test stuff, do you want to be the fullness of who you are and who you are created to be and who you might be in this world? And this is the thing. Now hear me, don't hear what I'm not saying. It doesn't mean God loves you less. If we say those words with a trembling voice, or if we are unsure, or if we cling to our mat, it does not mean that any of that. It means that we're not in charge of this process. It means God is in charge of this process that is unfolding. It is God's process with us, which we are invited to receive. You see, and it's really about what is to come next, right? I mean, that's the whole point of this healing. Erwin McManus says this. He says that you are created by God to create the future. This is an interesting way to put it. I love this kind of thought. Like, you are created by God to create the future. In the same way that a silkworm creates silk, humans create futures. What do you think your choices do? The choices you make today create the future you will live tomorrow. You just should be thankful that God is also choosing and overriding a lot of our destructive choices. But you are a future creature. Everybody says we can only live in the now, and that's true. We can only be happy right here and now. We can only know joy right here and now. Everything else is, in fact, illusion, but it is also trajectory. It is also where we are going, and what we are pointing at is what we will find ourselves hitting, where we are laying on our mat or responding to the Lord Jesus that says, "Do you want to be healed?" And then opening to that. Do you ever notice and I love this about this story, do you notice in this story, he never says yes. He makes an excuse. "Sir, I have no one to put me in the pool." And Jesus just looks at him and says, "Stand up, take your mat and walk." Jesus is in charge of our process. God is in charge of our process. We are on our mat in whatever way that might be. We're and if you just think about your mat as, when we talked about the personality stuff, of just to say, like, you're created in a certain way. You have good things that you have things that you do well, you have things that you do poorly. And that doesn't make you a bad person. That makes you a person. That makes you fearfully and wonderfully made. That makes you magnificent in your arena and your lane. And it makes you really awful at certain things. But in all of that, it is God that's entering in and saying, "Stand up. Take your mat and walk. Just walk. Just walk." It's not even about us responding well to it. There's an old trope, which I love because it's so true for me, is that everything I've ever let go of has claw marks on it. I have fought for every part of my own dysfunction in this life to be like, "No, I've got to hold on to that," and only to discover that my walk down the road is lighter and better and freer without it. Friends, the invitation of today is to just hear Jesus' question that do you want to be well? Do you want to be well? I know you do. Like, the thing is I know we do. We are born for wellness. We are born for heaven. We are born for all of this. And it is simply our willingness to let God's process play itself out with us, as opposed to cling to our dirty little mat next to the place of healing. All right, friends. I know I went heavy again, but yes, I know we do. I'm just looking at I'm looking at your comments right now. I'm so like Fanny Faye's asked for prayers. I hope you will all kind of offer some prayers today. That hey, good morning, Sherry Ladd. That yes. All right. I love this community. You're awesome. That we have this ability to respond to each other, and to journey with each other, and to care for one another. And that in that, we, in the congregational way, we talk about us being the hands and feet of God, that Christ is the head, and we are the body. We're going to respond to each other's hurts. We're going to respond to each other's pains. We're going to respond in prayer and kindness and joy. And I am so excited and pleased to be on this journey with all of you, to be a part of our church here and all that it brings to the world and all of its amazing and wonderful and kooky ways. I am overjoyed that we might continue to listen for the Lord's voice in our life, where it's saying, "Do you want to be healed?" And recognize that even if we're saying no, it is God's process that is leading us toward healing. Even if we are unsure, even if we don't know how, if you really look at what he's saying on the mat, that's what he's saying. He's saying, "I don't know how to get there. I don't know how to get from this point that I am on my mat down into the water. I don't know how to get to the place of healing." Friends, we don't need to know. The one who made you fearfully and wonderfully knows your grief, knows your loss, knows your pain, knows your struggles, knows your despair, knows your acedia, knows all of it, and is in that process, in charge of that process. And you have but to respond, and but to take up your mat and live and walk and love. All right, friends, that's our time for today. We'll be back here on Facebook Live on Sunday morning. We'll have the chance to we'll be worshiping together, and I hope you'll join us here or in person at 282 Rock Street. We'll be back at 10 o'clock on Sunday, and we'll be back next week with another round of 11:11. I am so grateful. Deb, happy birthday to you. Priscilla, happy birthday to you. There so much goodness, friends. So much goodness. Peace and grace to you all.